sitting here with Alex from the TheBrewFellows, which are two friends that are based in are you both in the Grand Rapids area?
Yes, yep, both Grand Rapids.
And this is actually our first time talking. We've communicated through direct message on Instagram, but never face-to-face or through Zoom. Just another beer lover, a Michigan beer lover, although I have seen a lot of out-of-state beers you guys post, a few from Three Floyds, which I'm a huge fan of also. So just a beer lover in general, I'm guessing, correct?
In general, yeah, for sure.
And what got you to, or specifically you, do you remember your first craft beer or the beer that kind of clicked and said, all right, I have to kind of explore a little more? And
Absolutely, yeah. So for me, it was the bridge between Sam Adams and then Dogfish Head back.
Okay.
I mean, I guess we're going back 2008-ish, I think, 2009. Like, I remember that TV show with Dogfish Head came on, and I already liked Sam Adams, and I had, I enjoyed, at that point, like, Bell's. I mean, I knew Bell's and Founder. Right. I was born in Grand Rapids, or I was raised in Grand Rapids already, but then I was down in Cincinnati for a little while, and then I was in South Haven. And as I was in South Haven, it's when there was no beer down in Southwest Michigan when I was there. And then, I saw that Dogfish Head show, and I was like, oh man, I gotta get this beer. It wasn't available like anywhere. I think it was in Ypsilanti area, because I had 60-minute IPA somehow.
Okay.
And then that's when I started getting into mule or like hunting down beer. I remember they had a beer release. It was only in Ypsilanti. I had my uncle say, hey, you're in Ypsilanti. Can you go to the store? This store has this case of Dogfish Head. Can you buy this for me? And then whenever I see you again, give it to me. And then I escalated from that to my brother. He was serving in the Army, and he was in New York, Syracuse, New York area.
Yeah.
And then I was like, hey, there's this beer store that has this beer from Dogfish Head. Can you get it for me? I was like, Apple. They're Positive Contact, I believe it was.
All right.
And that was kind of, when I finally got my hands on that, then I was like, oh man, these guys are for real. Like, it's outside the box kind of thinking.
Yeah.
Which I was
not your dad's beer.
Not my dad's beer. No, it was not Labatt's.
So you go back a little bit further from me. I mean, I've been doing this and into craft beer, I'm guessing maybe 7 years now, but mine was my friend Tim, who is from Minnesota. He was a big beer drinker, big Three Floyds fan, and he'd drive back and forth to Chicago often to visit friends. So Panzerwolf, Zombie Dust, those were two of my first from out of state, but it was probably closer to home, Atwater's Vanilla Java Porter, which, I've always been a beer fan, but in more of a European beer. So I was Amstel Light, just anything along those lines, but craft beer wise, it's literally only been about 7 years, but I kind of hit the ground running. I mean, it was
yeah, at that time too, 7-8 years ago, that's when like the options.
And I think there was only, if I remember when the guild didn't have everybody listed, but they had a majority of them. And, because I love traveling the state as much as I do, it clicked. It kind of like, all right, we have that many breweries. I should kind of incorporate my travels, grab some growlers or, and bring them back to my campsite. So that's when me traveling the state and trying to going to them all kind of clicked. And I just remembered there was probably only 180 back then when I started, and now we're 405, I think, total or something like that.
Right. It's like, it's almost impossible to get them all. Like, you're like, oh, I'm almost there.
Don't challenge me. So before this pandemic started, my whole goal was to be done by September. There's one more left in the UP that I haven't been to, and I was going to go to Beer Fest plus go to that one. It's a new one in Munising, but this whole lockdown, I'm stuck at 333 for the past 2 months, and I haven't been able to cross any new ones off my list yet.
Yeah.
So, and I could go pick up beers at certain ones, but I still don't consider that me going to the brewery just by me getting a growler fill. I want to go there, sit down, talk to people, kind of get a feel of what the brewery's like.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I mean, you do pretty good at it, that's for sure. Like, it's impressive. It's like you and one other guy that has done kind of the amount that you've done, but he's a very sociable guy, and he's in sales. I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I kind of technically I've been a salesman for so long, or for quite a while, but it's more of like my passion. Like we used to travel as a kid throughout the state camping every summer, pulling a trailer with my parents and both my brothers. And so I fell in love with Michigan, lived in Traverse, have lived in the Marquette area. So that's why I go to the UP often. Is not I have tons of friends up there, but I just remember liking it so much, not only when we vacationed, but living up there. There's so many things for me to do outdoors. But now there's 30 breweries in the UP, so that just kind of adds to my fun.
It's really 30 up there now.
And I think if you Marquette, and then if you can include Ishpeming and Negaunee, which are about 8 or 10 miles outside of town, and then Harvey, which is a little town east of Marquette, there's a total of 11 just in that small area.
That's wild.
So, yeah, it is. But Marquette, when I left there in '95, I was stationed in the Air Force up there, and I don't like the first one in town was the Veerling, the restaurant there. But I don't remember, although I ate dinner there, I don't remember ever drinking their craft beer. So I'm assuming they opened up after '95. But in that time, we always thought when the base closed, Marquette was going to close, and it did the complete opposite. Not only the city boomed, but it, droves of people, beer-loving people, started opening their own places and making their own beer. And one of my top 3 breweries is in Marquette. I don't know if you've had any of the Barrel and Beam beers.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're great. I met them not that long ago as well.
Yeah, Nick, the owner and brewer up there, he does just some amazing stuff. So yeah, they're top of my list. Real close.
I would love to go there. That's definitely a bucket list stop. I mean, it's a far one. Yeah, I love the stuff. And I met him at Beer Fest, and he was like the funniest guy. And he was familiar with us, the BrewFellows too. He's like, oh man, yeah. It's like, no way, really?
Yeah, he does a lot online. I know he follows a lot of people. But we were talking before we hit record, but you have a 5-year-old daughter, and you were talking about how many breweries she's been to, and you said 74 now?
Yeah, 74 in the first 5 years.
Nice. So what I was going to pick your brain about, and I know I talked about some myself, but I don't have any children, and I was going to ask you if you knew any kid-friendly or more kid-friendly breweries that you go to either consistently or remember going to with your daughter.
So the biggest one that I knew for like a kid, at least the most recent one, it sounds like one you mentioned earlier on the east side, but City Built here in Grand Rapids. Like that was the first one where like Edwin, the owner, was like, I'm gonna put this little corner with like a chalkboard and toys and
nice
little clean area for kids. And I was like, wow, really? I
love City Built.
That's definitely probably within the top 5, at least in this general West Side. And that was for the first one for like a real abundantly clear kid-friendly spot.
Yeah.
All of them that I've been to with her for the most part have been, it's just like a restaurant. There's really no change in vibe. Most of them had like kid menus and crayons and stuff like that.
Cool. I was mentioning with a little play area, Presidential down in Portage.
Presidential. That's right.
They have that little play area they have in the back, and kind of bring your kids, and the owners have, I think, 2 themselves, if I'm not mistaken. So it's more of a family feel when you go in there. I mean, there's kids often the few times that I've been in there, which is kind of a cool thing to see, is full families coming in.
That is cool. Yeah.
And then go ahead.
I was gonna say ArcLight would be another one. I think it's
okay.
They're so spacious and like plenty of running space, and it's so wide open that
they got some games out on their in their beer garden, correct?
Yeah. Big fun games. They have some stuff on the inside too, board games, I believe, and it's just wide open, like plenty of room to run, and you can be as long as you want. Nobody seems to care.
And I'll have you pronounce it, because I always mispronounce the city there, and they're in is it
Waterford.
Is that how it's pronounced?
I mean, if now that you're asking me, I feel like it's probably like Waterford. No, I can't say it now.
I can't either. So I always see the sign, but I always mispronounce it. So
I've actually never said it out loud before. That's why I like. It could be. I feel like it's got that Louisville thing when you say like Louisville. So I think it's like
okay. Well, it's ArcLight Brewing if everyone's interested. If you have kids and you're looking for it, so that's one to go to. And then just another one that I don't have any, but I think it would be the mecca for kids would be Pond Hill Farm up in Harbor Springs, which I check in a lot of their beers, or I check in there every year because I always go. But I was mentioning they have about 197 acres that they just say, take it over, grab a beer. let the kids go play. They have some groom trails, and they do a lot of games and small petting zoo for kids and different types of games. They have a rocket launcher where you go by. It used to be potatoes, but now it might be small squashes or whatever, and you bring them back on a life-size slingshot, and you shoot it into a field for all the goats to eat.
Really?
Yeah.
That sounds cool. It's definitely listed.
And they have really good beer also, and they also are winemakers. So whether it's a husband and wife, and the husband drinks beer and the wife drinks wine, it's a place anyone can hang out.
That's really cool. I can't say I've seen many. That sounds like it's next level. They've all been good, and they've all just been like more of like a restaurant vibe outside of City Milk and ArcLight. I feel like there might have been one or two other ones that are escaping me. I mean, that's
there's quite a few. I mean, any place like, we were talking about Hop Lot. Their beer garden's big enough where if you've got some, small kids that do want to get out and burn some energy while you're sipping on a beer, they have a huge outdoor beer garden that you'll see kids there year round. And it's another just, any place that I think that has not only an outdoor area, but a little bit of a larger outdoor area where the kids can kind of just do their thing, I think would be a pretty kid-friendly place.
I feel like, what's it called? It's a brew pub in Spring Lake, Old Boys.
Okay.
The dog-themed one.
Yeah.
That one's kind of got that. Like, it has, like, you're along the river.
Yeah, you got the little boardwalk there. Yeah.
So I think I took her there once, and we just kind of walked out there a bit, and the dog stuff was fun enough. All the pictures of dogs.
Yeah. I've been there. I did a brew tour. One of my favorite things is, combining certain breweries in certain areas. So I did Oddside. It was the same weekend. Oddside, Grand Armory, Old Boys, everything in that area that weekend.
Was Dutch Grill there at that point?
It was closed. It just recently closed. Yeah, I just missed it.
It's a bummer. I got there with her. We had Dutch Grill. My daughter and I. We had Dutch Grill, Old Boys. And I think Grand Armory was the third one. We couldn't do all of them because after a point with a kid, you're getting, she's getting hyper and you're starting to be irresponsible. I'm always with somebody else. I should mention this either like a wife or like a good friend who's, we're just,
Sure.
making sure she's entertained. It's not just me going to a bar myself with her.
Another one we were talking about that you haven't been yet, but I know that they have a larger outdoor area and they do a lot of fun stuff and events would be Waypost in Fenville.
They do?
Yeah, really big, yeah.
They have great beer. I've had the Waypost beer at Beer Fest, and I think I've had a bottle of theirs somehow. I was really disappointed. I mean, they closed for this, which, I mean, why am I disappointed? I can't get down there anyway. But, yeah, it's great beer. I'm not surprised. I really hope they are okay after this because, I mean, they're so new.
Yeah, there's a lot. I'm actually talking to a brewery later on that just opened up in January. So they were only open up for about 5 weeks before this whole quarantine. It's Five Shores up in Beulah. But I think, if you're producing good enough beer, I think people, whether they're picking up growlers now, they're going to remember it's just another place. If they haven't been, they're going to go because word of mouth. But if you have been, you know how good their beer is. And Waypost, their beer is that good where I think they're going to survive.
I hope so. I mean, just for all selfish reasons, but I mean, it's for them too. So.
Oh, no, it's completely selfish reasons. So I wanted to touch on the beer that you were sipping on right now. You said it was from Railtown?
Yep. So this I got, it's a Railtown it's Bueno Mood. It's just, I think it's their mood style, milk style, but it's Mexican hot chocolate version. So it's got, a spicy kick in the back of it.
Okay. I mean, is it, because I love spicy beers. I mean, is it like something you feel on your tongue or is it like the finish on it when you're.
Back end.
Okay.
It doesn't go away. It's kind of relentless. It's relentless in a good way. Because It's really smooth, chocolatey. The middle's, the middle is just kind of, could be a little more full. But the front and the back end are awesome. When you get to the back, and then just kind of you get that spicy heat mixed in with that chocolate, just like a real hot chocolate, spicy Mexican hot chocolate.
Okay.
It kind of lingers, but it doesn't burn through your throat. Like
I was mentioning, I was there with my friend. I think it was in January. I'm guessing it was before the quarantine, obviously. But they had one called Empty Shells, which was not peanut butter. It was just a peanut brown, and it was outstanding. There was so much flavor in that beer. We were on a brew tour, so it was just one of those times where I just had one and go. But it's a place where I'm looking forward to getting back to.
Yeah, they do some great stuff. Great owners. They're relatively young, and they do a lot of stuff with Ferris Coffee out here too.
Okay.
They have a good relationship with them. I think at least the roasters, I think, so they get the right beans they want and stuff like that.
And you were mentioning that you're in kind of a hot spot for breweries living on the kind of the west side of Grand Rapids.
Yeah, so right where I'm at, like I could walk in any which direction, or at least east and south, and I can be with about a 1 mile to a mile and a half. I can hit the Mitten, People's Cider Company as well, but then Harmony Hall, Jolly Pumpkin, the New Hall Knickerbocker,
Yeah.
and eventually at Cedar Springs Brewing Facility, they have a new one going up on this side of town.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, just a tap room.
Okay, so they're gonna ship stuff down from Cedar Springs down here.
I believe so.
Okay.
The food, I believe, will be different if there's food at all, if I understand correctly. Yeah, I can walk. I can do that walk, no problem. It's nice.
Cedar Springs in general was a really nice place. I stopped there. Have you ever been to Burning Foot Beer Fest in Muskegon?
It was on the docket for the summer.
Yeah, and well,
Currently,
they moved it.
Is it right?
Because I guess there's been so much. They want to go back there, but I guess the city said just not this year because there's been so much erosion on the beach. But it was they were moving it downtown or to a park in the area. But I think it's going to be, if they haven't already canceled, I think they're obviously going to.
I guess I haven't heard if they have or not.
But no, that on my way home from there last year, because that's one place they have the beer fest, and then the one time a year, or maybe the one time, but they do allow you to camp on the beach at the same night as the beer fest. So
really?
Yeah, so you can set up, you can buy certain tickets. You can buy a ticket just to the beer fest, or buy a ticket for 4 to sleep on tents on a beach, and then so it's obviously very safe because then you can go kind of party all day long at night, because then they have music going all night, and then just walk right over to your tent. So that was really convenient. No worries about driving anywhere afterwards.
I love that. Yeah.
So I hit on Sunday on the way home is when I hit Cedar Springs, and not only that their food was outstanding, their beer was really, really good.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Mitch and I have done that stop together. We did. I've been there once before, maybe twice before, but then Mitch and I did it recently.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good. We each did a flight. We did our own things and met the owner, which was cool. Yeah, we love it. We were a giveaway. We love to ship some of their stuff somewhere. We're going to do a giveaway about 1 week after, or 1 week like later. But then this lockdown started.
Okay.
And since we have him and I are on the same spot, we're like, wait, let's wait till we can be in the same spot again.
Sure.
So we can actually coordinate and ship to do all this stuff together.
So you guys do giveaways through your Instagram page?
We planned on it. We have currently, I think, 6 bottles, 1 city built, and then 5 speciation.
Oh,
I think he wanted to do maybe 8 to 12, which I'm like, okay, it's a lot. I mean, yeah, that's the intention. And we were that close. We're that close. And
So just to remind everybody, if you are on Instagram or Twitter, it's TheBrewFellows. So go ahead and give them a follow on both, and look for their giveaway once the quarantine ends and they're able to get together and ship these beers out. Do you know kind of quickly on Mitch's background, what got him going into beer? Is it kind of similar to yours?
Definitely similar, but later. He's a few years younger than I am.
Okay.
And so him and I started hanging out, doing, we actually started doing food stuff. We did food challenges, which actually that was the genesis of the TheBrewFellows. It was actually just a food challenge page, because we had 5 years worth of this food stuff that we've been doing, that we just never posted. I was like, hey man, we're doing one right now. Why didn't we make an Instagram account 5 years ago? I have 160 pictures worth of stuff.
Yeah.
And then, we never did. And then we started it. And then when we made it, we were like, yeah, I'm out of content. We're getting old. We can't eat this poorly all the time. But the consistent piece of all those things was the beer. Since we started hanging out, we always do these food challenges, and there always be, craft beer with us. And he's definitely got a younger palate, and he's learning more as he goes.
Okay.
Which I like, because, he'll drink a Green Bush now, and he'll be like, oh, this is excellent. Or he'll drink, it's his first time drinking it. Or, from the Bell stuff too. Like, and he'll drink a man, like just like more like an Oberon. He's happy with it. Like he's just very much
Sure.
like he's happy with what he's drinking, no matter what it is. He wants to explore. He loves Three Floyds like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard anyone say they don't like Three Floyds.
Exactly. I think that was the one that really pushed him over too, because we did a trip to the Blues Festival probably 3 or 4 years ago. Gary Clark Jr. was there.
Oh, really?
And Rihanna Giddens was there, and like Free, obviously. Maybe it was, no, it's Buddy Guy. It was a Buddy Guy year. And he stopped at Three Floyds, and like I think that is blew his mind. Like he actually was just going for the White Castle stop on the way back. He's like, oh, we're going to White Castle afterwards? But the Three Floyds was really like, that's when I think from that point on, he was like really like, let me try it. He's asking me for more and more. So I've kind of been a mentor in respects. But,
nice.
But he's also just, he likes it himself. He'll buy stuff and be like, hey, I'm drinking this.
Well, that's how I was mentioning my buddy Tim, who kind of, him and my friend Rachel got me into craft beer, but Tim would go out of state. He was from Minnesota, so before Surly was here, he would bring back Surly, and we'd drink some of their stuff. And he would do some trading, and he had some buddies at work, so I probably had more out-of-state craft beer before I got totally into the Michigan craft beer scene. But yeah, Three Floyds was one of them, and if I don't make it there twice a year, I'm really disappointed in myself.
Indeed, yeah.
And I always come back with probably at least a case and a half, including bomber bottles. I mean, it's hard to leave there with a ton of beer.
Oh, for sure. No, you got to. Now with the distillery edition, like I don't even know. I haven't been there since the distillery's been available.
I haven't had any of their spirits yet.
So I don't know if that will be a change or not. So I know I went to Dogfish Head a couple years ago, and then they had the spirits, and I was like, well, I got to buy all this now as well. But I mean, So
do you guys have any particular, once we're able to go out, summer plans or fall plans? Do you have any festivals that you're hoping that are still going to be on that you hadn't been to before, like or breweries in particular?
Like beer, So I mean, there's a lot there. Beer festival wise, together we were going to try and do the Bell's 35th anniversary.
Oh wow!
That one got pushed back a year.
Oh, okay.
So together, that's what we had in mind. For me, I was going to do the Ypsilanti Beer Festival. He was on the fence about it. I think I could probably get him to go. But
that's one of the ones, the guild ones that I haven't done yet. My favorite every year, though, is the Fall Fest in Marquette.
Yeah, I've not done that one. That was kind of on the fringe, too. I have some friends. My one friend who travels all the breweries, kind of like you do.
Yeah.
That's how he's trying to get it to finish the UP by going to that and then hitting a bunch.
Okay.
Like those guys travel like the country doing that. So I was kind of on the fence about that one.
It's definitely worth it because you have this, I always tell people you have the same amount of breweries, that are participating with maybe a third less of the people that you would get at Ypsilanti or at Winter Beer Fest in Grand Rapids. Still a lot of people, but in the past, we've been really lucky the last 3 years. 4 years ago, there was a downpour and you were walking in about 6 inches of muddy sod. But the past 3 years, in September in the UP, you never know what you're going to get. But we've been really lucky the last 3 years.
Right.
Yeah, it's one I highly recommend. And then I go to right after that, the guild puts on the Eastern Market Brew Fest in October.
Yeah, I've seen some stuff about that. I don't know a whole lot about it.
It's kind of half indoor, half outdoor. You're in some sheds in some of them because Eastern Market has some brick sheds. So it's been cold the past few years, but they expanded. Unfortunately, the Traverse City one was canceled, so they took away Friday night from Eastern Markets because it was a 2-day fest, and they turned it into just a Saturday fest. But I used to go on Friday nights, and that was my favorite. I'd done both the Friday and Saturday, but Friday was, for me, the more fun night to go to.
Yeah, I feel like Friday is usually, at least knowing that Grand Rapids, the Grand Rapids Festival, Fridays was kind of the better one to go to. Everything I go to on a Friday night is just better because I feel like there's like less people, it seems like.
Oh, I definitely think there's less people, yeah.
Then there's a better vibe.
I totally agree, and that's the reason why I've always liked the Friday night at Eastern Market compared to the Saturday during the day. Not that Saturday's not fun. You still have, tons of people and tons of beer, but the vibe on a Friday night is definitely a little bit different.
For sure, for sure.
So what else do you have lined up to drink tonight after you finish that one from Railtown?
So we're talking about Southwest Michigan. I brought this one. It's the Livery.
Oh.
They're Mallaroo, I think you would say. It's 2019. It's a bearded guard with raspberries.
Wow.
And it's great. I love this beer. And then
they're whether I'm not often over in the St. Joseph area, correct?
Benton Harbor.
Benton Harbor. So I've been there, and when I go and because I travel so much, the structure itself really, big and shiny is nice. Big, new and shiny is nice, but when you go into a building like they have, and you look at these trusses on the ceiling, that you're like, I don't even know how they're still up there.
Right.
But that building is so cool, and their beer is it's out of this world.
I love it. It was actually probably one of the early ones I loved when I was in South Haven. That was the closest brewery I had. I drive 45 minutes to an hour away, and I'd be in heaven.
Yeah.
But definitely, like we're talking about the building earlier, it's like this building's like the more hole in the wall or kind of hidden. Yeah. Because back then you drive down Benton Harbor and there's nothing anywhere. And so you get to this brick building, like, are you sure this is it?
Right.
Then you walk in and it looks like a historically renovated. It's a really nice historical building.
I do prefer that. I like a brewery in general, but like I do like a brewery that either takes over an old church, or the one down in Tecumseh that I was at earlier is an old bank. Not that it's old as in rustic looking or anything like that, but they took a bank, and you could tell. There's still a drive-through on the side of the building, but they utilize this bank, and you couldn't tell without that it was a bank before. There's one up in Boyne City called Stig's. I don't know if you've been there. But that's an old bank, and they still, like, when I say old bank, it's like with the metal bars and for the vault door, and really? They still have a lot of that up, and I like seeing breweries go into old buildings like that and utilize what was there and not change it too much.
Agreed. Yeah. Like the livery, they have the lift still. They would lift the horses up. It's like, man, you can just feel the history, but also it's the new and just the energy.
No, I liked it a lot. Yeah, and they do have that small little, I guess you would call it patio on the side of the building. It was kind of cool to sit outside on. But their beers, I forgot what I would have to go back on my phone and look. But they had I think it was an 18.5 or 19% beer the night I was there.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
They always seem to throw some of those in there, and they're always sneaky heavies. They're not like. They aren't just in your face heavy usually.
Yeah, and they're one. They're at a beer fest. They're getting one of my first coins for sure.
Same.
Yeah,
for sure. It's always a guaranteed stop. And they always have live music there too, which like their booker, whoever they have there, it's pretty amazing too. Like I'm always like, oh man, can I afford the hour and a half drive on a Friday? Maybe not, but.
The one I haven't been to that's really close to there, and you may have going down there is it Northern Pier? Yeah. So that's one that's still on my list that I haven't been to yet.
That was nice. I like that one a lot too. Like it's a completely different vibe than the livery or that whole area. I think it's catered more towards like a golf course across the street.
Okay.
But also I'm still maintaining kind of like the craft beer energy or whatever, that youthful vibe, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had games there. They had a toy box. That was one of the other places that was really kid friendly.
Oh, really?
Actual toy box, like an old box, like one that I had when I was a kid. For the games, but the beer is pretty good. There was like one I really, really enjoyed. I can't recall too many. They have some in cans and available locally around here.
Oh, okay.
And it's a really cool spot, but it's really small.
So they distro by you then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they do 4-pack cans, like of the 3 or 4 of their mainstays.
All right, cool.
Yeah, good beer, great space. I think the outdoor patio is kind of where it's at though, like, 'cause it's a really small indoor thing, but they have a nice beer garden, which is pretty nice. Has real. I think there might be like little, what's the little fire, like little campfires around maybe.
Okay.
It's been a couple of years, but it's.
Yeah, it's one that was on my list obviously. So with having about 70 more to go in the state, I did have planned out, right? When I go down here, these are the 3 or 4 I have to get to, and then around the state, and that's that's high on my list because I was there. It's just I think either they weren't open or I ran out of time or something like that. But obviously, I've been in the area. I just haven't been able to stop in there yet.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to let you get to your second beer and enjoy your evening. I won't keep you too long. So I'll have you remind everyone where they can find you both on Instagram and Twitter.
Yep. So we're the TheBrewFellows on Instagram, and I believe Twitter it's the same.
Okay.
But yeah, on Instagram that's our thing. There's two of us, and you can tell us apart if you really pay attention, but I wouldn't bother trying to.
I haven't been able to, and we've been going back and forth for a while. So
if you're talking to us, odds are it's going to be me.
Okay.
It's as far as the posts go. One real quick shout out because we're talking about breweries that are smaller, newer. One that's going to be new in Grand Rapids. It's called Lost Art.
Okay, where's that at?
It's going to be in Walker, the Walker area, so not far from me. So the west side of Grand Rapids. They were supposed to open in April, and obviously they've been, trying to figure stuff out with the construction. They had like one more step to do, and now they're gonna have to do delivery or a curbside for a while. They think.
Yeah.
But,
so that's called the Lost Art.
Lost Art, ART.
Okay, well I'll definitely look them up online. That's the first time I've heard of them.
Yeah. I mean, they're. I don't know. I mean, hoping for the best. I mean, I talked to the owner a fair amount. He was in a band locally a long time ago, so he's
okay.
But yeah, recommend them. But anyway.
Well, that's another thing, I meant to touch on this, but you guys, I mean, along with beer and food, part of your Instagram says that you guys are really big into live music.
Yes, yeah. So that's kind of the other push. We're very Michigan music based.
Okay.
So like beer and music, because it's always gone hand in hand.
Yeah.
And not really quick. It's kind of, for me, it's just getting these bands out there. I mean, especially right now when they can't do anything. I mean, they're all good bands. I mean, they recognize some of them tour nationally, some of them are more regional, some are local. I like all of them, and so if I'm there, I might as well have drinking beers while I'm there, so I can post a beer and push these bands. Yeah, because we love music, and that's always been Mitch and I. It's always been music, and then food and beer is always it's like a trinity of sorts.
Cool.
Yeah, so if you come into our account, you'll see a lot of new music you had never heard before, some you have heard, and hopefully some you get interested in long run.
Yeah. Do you have it doesn't even have to be a brewery. Do you have a favorite, like, kind of smaller venue around you that you like to go to listen to music?
Yes. Around me, probably my favorite, there's two favorites. So one is going to be 7 Steps Up. It's a really small, intimate venue in Spring Lake. So that's about 45 minutes to an hour north of me. A really small venue, but it's like a renovated building, really nice. And the other one's a more popular venue. They have a lot of big names come through there. Like I saw big blues guys there, also comedians like Todd Berry was there. That's the Pyramid Scheme. That's right downtown Grand Rapids. Those two venues probably be my top choices. I've seen the most shows, I guess, at those ones, and then there's plenty of other ones that the list goes on and on.
Talk about music, and I've been there. I wasn't there when music was going on, but there was a place that opened up in Otsego, so just kind of maybe 13 miles north of Kalamazoo. It's called Liquid Note.
I've heard of Liquid Note.
Yeah, so they're big in. They've got a pretty cool stage, and they do open mic. They host a lot of live music, and then comedians there also.
I love it. Yeah,
and plus they have craft beer, so can't go wrong.
Yeah, like Pyramid Scheme, their big account I think is shorts. I think they have more than shorts now, but when they first started, they were all about shorts beer. You have like Joe Short would come to town to go for his birthday to go to Hot Cat. And then afterward, he'd go to Pyramid Scheme afterward because that was their second biggest account in town.
Oh, really?
I'm not sure if I've had like Holmes beer there. I've had Waypoint there actually as well, and Rockford Brewing. So they're representing a lot of the Michigan breweries as well.
Nice. Well, I will definitely check them out. And then next time I'm in Grand Rapids, once we're able to belly up to a bar, I'll let you and Mitch know that I'm around, and hopefully I can buy you guys one.
Please do. And likewise, we look forward to meeting you in person. I appreciate you inviting for this. There's really
not a problem. All right. Thanks a lot, Alex. I appreciate your time. Have a good one.
No problem. You have a good night.
You too. Thanks. Thanks, buddy.